It's been over a year since the Shredder's Revenge game came out on multiple game systems. It's still one of the best beat 'em up games that I've seen since Streets of Rage 4, which came out back in 2020. Um, Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge came out, I think, in late 2022, and it's a game that felt a lot like Turtles in Time from 1991. It gave you that arcade beat 'em up feeling. The graphics were awesome. The multiplayer mode was dope, and in fact, I think the game was published by the same company that did Streets of Rage 4 back in 2020. And honestly, I'm hoping that we get a sequel for this sometime in the future. Now, I made a video about this about a year ago or something, and I haven't really heard anything about another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, but I feel like if we got another beat 'em up game that followed Shredder's Revenge, whether it be a direct sequel or a spiritual successor to it, I feel that it would be a big deal. It would catch eyes within the gaming world, and it's something that it could appeal to casuals more so than like any other like beat 'em up game that you could think of outside of maybe Streets of Rage. But like for the most part, I feel like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though it's really old, it's been around since the '80s, it still has it still has like a big audience. It's not necessarily niche. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think, was a television series before it became a video game series, and for the most part, it seems like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been like much more popular, like in the past like decade or so than it was like during the 2000s, or even I wouldn't say is the 80s or early 90s, but I would say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been more popular within the past few years to a decade than it was like during most of the 2000s. And I do feel that another Ninja Turtles game is something that a lot of people would love, because we need to see more video games like this in this particular genre. Because I feel like this game was something that it was like a breath of fresh air when it came out, because 2022 wasn't that great of a year in relation to video game releases, or at least when it came down to high profile video game releases. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles felt like something fresh. It was different than your typical action adventure um, or your typical shooter video game or your typical RPG game. And there were some good games that came out in 2022. One of the best being Elden Ring, but everybody has their own respective opinion on that. But in terms of variety, we need more games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, or games like that. With the whole pixelated art style, multiplayer, gameplay. Um, the animations and all that stuff that we get in that. And honestly, like seeing how well Shredder's Revenge did in terms of sales, I wouldn't necessarily rule out the possibility for a sequel, because I think it broke at least 1 million in terms of sales. So obviously, it appealed to more than just a niche audience for the most part. And I know that we got a expansion pack for Shredder's Revenge called Dimension Shell Shock, and I think that came out back in this past summer, like in August or whatever. But yeah, man, this game was one of the better beat 'em up games aside from Streets of Rage 4 that I've seen in probably like a decade or so. And I do feel that at some point we should definitely like get a sequel for this game sometime in the future.